I want to welcome YouTube. I want to welcome Facebook Live. Want to welcome Periscope for the first time in a long time, and want to welcome Instagram Live. So good afternoon. Now I was supposed to be on at 11:30, and I'm running a little late. But this is Audrea Winbush Lott coming to you with Keeping It Real with Dr. A. And this is the time when I come on from time to time and just talk about sometimes they're hot topics, or sometimes they're just burning topics that are on my heart, or some things that I just want to discuss. And so today I just want to talk about, what message are you sending? What message is it that you are sending? Because we have to understand that whatever we do, whatever we say, how we conduct ourselves, what actions we take, what decisions we make, all of those things send a message. And are you sending the message that you want to send, or are you sending the message that you intend to send to others? If you were a book and people opened you up and they started reading your pages, what would they get? What message would they get? What would they see as they read the obvious lines, as well as reading between the lines? So I just wanted to just take a few minutes just to get us to stop and to think, because it's something that I'm cognizant of a lot, often, all the time, because I'm very much aware of the fact that what I say and what I do, how I treat people, how I act, it has a profound, it has the potential to have a profound influence on some, and it can negatively influence individuals if I'm not careful about how I do things. Now, that doesn't mean that we have to dance around trying to please everybody, trying to be what everybody wants us to be, or conduct ourselves in the way that we think that they want us to conduct ourselves. But it has to also be something that's in the forefront of our mind, that we really need to be careful that we're sending out the right message. Do people really know who we are? I can think of a couple of times where things have happened, and the feeling that I got at those particular times, where I was really upset, appalled, concerned that an erroneous assumption had been made concerning me, and I really literally said, you would think that because of the history that we've had, because of the evidence they've had of my character, that they wouldn't even go left like that, thinking this or that about me. But I have to understand that people have their own perceptions, that things happen, and I had to walk in forgiveness. But I really did take that to God and say, I don't understand, because I've never done anything to indicate to anyone that this would be a part of my nature, or that I would do something like that. But and so in those situations, my comfort was found in the fact that I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that I had done the best I could to conduct myself and to carry myself in a way that was above board, and that if there was a misunderstanding, that I knew who the enemy was and how he comes, and he starts to stir up confusion. So rather than me hold a grudge against that person, or never allow myself to trust that person again or anything like that, I just gave it all to God and asked him to show me what to do, how to do. And I just continued to carry myself in the way that was giving the picture, giving the impression of the character of Christ that I strive to walk in. Good morning, Carol. How you doing in Atlanta? Good to see you. People on YouTube, I'm going to move this jacket that's behind me, because it is bothering me in my background. Now, isn't that better? You can see the pillow and not my jacket. Okay, so again, today we're talking about, what message are you sending? What message are you sending? It's important, because whether you're a believer or not, the way you carry yourself gives off a message that people can read, they can perceive, and don't fool yourself and think that it's not taking place. And I think with the current climate that we have in America, and even in the church at large, people are so quick to judge. People are so quick to treat people a certain way because of what they think they're doing, or what they think they see, or what they or how they think that person ought to act, and just drawing assumptions and really just acting more ugly and more judgmental than people out in the world. But one of the simple things that I think we need to always remember is there a difference between what you say and what you do? Is there a difference in what you say and what you do? You say certain things out of your mouth, but do your actions back it up? And most of us know that that's one reason why a lot of people have fallen away from the things of God, or from church, or from the faith, or from believing, because the very people who would be the ones talking to them and telling them how to conduct themselves and how to act would be the ones that they would see or even participate with in doing things that didn't line up with what they were saying. Now, we don't have to go that far. What about, again, let's go back to this political climate that we have. I was really surprised at the number of people that I had to just unfollow, or in some cases block, because then they would come and attack my generic. And anybody who's following me on any social media, that I'm really pretty generic when it comes to posting things that of a political nature. And there's a reason behind that. That's just the way that I'm being led to do it. I'm not saying everybody else has to do that, but some people would come and take my benign posts and start to try to attack me, and so I would have to block them. Oh, good morning, Tanisha. Tell Jake I said hello. Tell him I said hello. So the things that we say and what we do, are they in alignment, or are they butting heads? The things that I post and the way I act, are they in alignment? I'm posting all these wonderful, glorious things, but am I the cuss out queen in the parking lot after church, or in the at the grocery store because somebody got my parking space that I didn't want? Are my posts lining up with how I act? Is what I'm saying lining up with what I do? We need to be aware that, especially if you're a believer, people are looking at us. Not always. We feel like often that they're looking at us trying to find something wrong, trying to find a way to judge us. But the bottom line is, really, if we're really very honest with ourselves, people are looking for the light. They're looking for an answer. They're looking for somebody that's real. And when they see that realness, they too will begin to consider that this Jesus that she follows must be real, because I can tell by the way she acts, not by the checklist you go down with the don't smoke, don't drink, don't cuss, don't do this, don't do that. I'm talking about the character that you have. I'm talking about the way you treat people. There are some people that I strongly disagree with. I'm talking about as strongly as you can imagine. I disagree with them, but I agree to disagree with them. I still can accept them for the individuals that they are. I can still respect their right to have the opinion that they have. I don't have to isolate myself or avoid them, because I'm going to love them regardless. Even though I've shared on one of the other broadcasts that it has really, it pulled on my heart some of the people that I had to disassociate with myself with, or unfollow. Because a lot of them were people that I had gone to school with, that I had graduated from high school with. And, we were one of those rare instances where we didn't have a lot of disruption or any violence or any incidents when we actually did integrate schools in my hometown. And so, there was this sense of we can all get along. But when I tell you that the truth began to seep out, to ooze out, within these last, I would say 8 to 10 years, it has been really unnerving, because I'm saying, how can a person, and this again lines up with what I'm talking about, what we say and what we do, what we post and how we act. When you're posting about Jesus and you're talking about God and you're asking people for prayer, or you're praying for people, but yet you have all this hate and all this venom oozing out of you at the drop of a hat. And we have to be careful, even when there are satirical posts that we might want to post. it's funny, but it's a kind of got a little edge on it. We feel like that's okay, but we have to go back and do a heart check and make sure, is this the way I want to present myself? Is this the way I want to represent myself? Is this the picture that I want to portray of who I am? There are so many things that I would love to post because they are hilarious to me, but I will check and see, should I or shouldn't I? And so many things, I just have to let it go. I might end up sharing it with one person behind the scenes, sending it as a message, but that's a way that we're going to have to use wisdom in this day and time, because again, it's not just that there are some people always who are going to try to find something wrong, trying to find some kind of fault in you, find some way to pass judgment on you based on something that you do. But there are others that, even though that might be what's coming out of their mouth, or that might be the way that they're acting or conducting themselves around you, the truth is they're looking for an answer. And am I going to be the one to have that example for them, that answer for them? So is my example, even when I'm in an environment where certain things are being said, certain things are being done, am I setting an example of support, or am I raising questions about my character? Am I voicing, opposition? Because, being quiet, you end up being a co-signer. So we have to really, really be careful. There's some things that I won't even quote like on Facebook, because I don't want to give a different picture, that I don't want to put anything in place that's going to block someone's ability to be able to step to me and approach me and ask them to tell me about this Jesus that I serve. Now, don't get me wrong, especially as an African-American woman, I will post things full of pride about who I am and whose I am, and really thanking God for the journey that, in spite of what the enemy meant to take us under, the very thing that was meant to suppress us, to keep us down, is the very hope and faith that we have that is causing us to rise up, and has caused us to rise up over the years. In fact, I even have an entire Facebook page that's dedicated to nothing but, sharing Black history tidbits and facts, and newsworthy things, inventions, things like that. And on that particular page by itself, there are over 12,000 likes on that page. So people are constantly going to that page, getting information and sharing it other places. I'm not saying don't be who you authentically are. And sometimes being who we authentically are is going to offend people, is going to cause people to push back, is going to cause people to form some sort of opinion. I'm not saying that. I'm saying be who you really are, be true to who you really are, but make sure that you're giving off the right message, giving the message off that you want to have sent. And remember, there are lingering effects to words, to posts, to pictures, to the company that we keep. We may, I think what I'm trying to say, I don't know what's happening. Instagram looks like it's saying the video has paused, and I have no idea what happened. That is the very reason why I stopped trying to do so many different streams at a time. And I just thought I would try it again today. But sometimes they're cutting in and out, and I have no clue about why that's happening. But one of the things that what I was about to say is our words, our posts, our pictures, the company we keep, the meetings we may go to, the things we do, they have a lasting effect. They're over. We've posted it, we've had our laugh, or we've posted it, we've shared our opinion, we've voiced it, we've live, streamed something, or we went to a particular meeting and checked ourselves in and took selfies and took group pictures and things like that. But there's a lasting and lingering effect that it has on some people, that the assumptions or even the regret you may have for having done something, and in your heart, maybe I shouldn't have done that, or I feel differently about that. But those are the things that we still remember. Think about it. Again, looking at things that are going on in the news now. How many times are things coming up that people have done in the past? They aren't even there anymore. They aren't even of that mindset anymore. They're doing those things, but people are constantly digging things up out of our past. So how much more do you think the enemy is working to make sure that whatever I do, whatever I say, there can be some kind of edge to it, that it can be twisted and it can cause somebody to not want to come to Christ. So think about yourselves as that walking, talking billboard that Paul talked about and say, we're living epistles read among all men. And my version is you're a walking, talking billboard. You have your message written on you based on what you do, what you say, how you act, how you treat people. And the best example that we can have on how to conduct ourselves is to look at what Jesus did. He accepted people. They could be as wrong as my mom used to say, two left shoes. They could be as dirty as I'll get out. They could be evil, conniving, or whatever. And he knew it, but he didn't let that cause him to have a reaction all the time. He reacted when it was appropriate, when it was at that time. But think about all of these times when he knew he was surrounded by people who meant him no good. They didn't have anything but evil planned concerning him. But he knew when to speak and when not to speak. And sometimes we've got to know when to speak and when not to speak. Because even when we engage in legitimate conversations where other people can see, especially with a lot of this back and forth, on social media, what is the picture? What is the message? What is the scene that we're painting, that we're presenting to those who are watching? My job is not ever to try to convince people that my way is the right way. If anything, I can just present why I believe what I believe, or why I think this is wrong, or this is wrong, or this is right, or that's right. But I still can give somebody the space, the room to believe what they believe, even if I think it is the most jacked up thing in the whole world is wrong. I can even know that as a believer, you shouldn't even be going that way, but it's not my job to pass judgment. In walking in that unconditional love and acceptance, I can accept them where they are, believing what they are, acting the way they are, and I can pray and ask God to do the rest. Because I'm not the one. I'm not the author and the finisher of their faith. I'm not the one who draws them and cleanses them and makes them brand new. I'm not that one. I am just a carrier of that one. And my job is to, wherever I step, I got to make a difference. Wherever I speak, I need to make a difference. Whatever alliances I have, I need to check them and make sure that they're ones that are going to not cause me any harm and not cause any harm to the message that I am endeavoring to present. Now, I'm not just talking about as a Christian. I'm talking about as a professional. I'm talking about as a community leader. I'm talking about as an elder in your family. I'm talking about as a young person at school. What is the message that you want to present? So you have to do a self-check and do an inventory, because I can't tell you what to post, what not to post, what to do, what not to do. But we can look at things a lot of times, we laugh, those of us who are older, because we act like we don't remember when we felt like older people couldn't tell us what to do, that they didn't know nothing. When you tell a younger person, be careful about what you post on social media. Be careful about the text messages that you send. Be careful about the instant messages that you might send. And they'll say, oh, yeah, it's nothing to that. But then bottom line, when it comes down for them to be considered for a job, or considered for a position somewhere, or consider even to go to certain colleges, and they're having those offers rescinded. They're having those job offers taken back, because of what you posted and how you appeared online. So again, and that's why many times that it's hard for us to wrap our minds around it many times. But when we see people in the news and they have done the most awful things or posted the ugliest stuff, and yet there's somebody that steps up and defends their character and says, but they're not racist, or they're the most loving person that I've ever known, or I can never imagine them even hurting anyone. That's not the person that I've known all these years. And from their perspective, they're telling the truth. But from what that person did, they will never be able to walk away from that picture, that message, that presentation of themselves that they had presented through their actions or through their words or through their posts or through the pictures that were found of them. Um, Allow other people to do the same thing. Be true to who you are, but allow other people to do the same thing. Allow them that. There's some things that even my dad, he's associated with a group that I just would not even want to breathe the same air that they breathe. And you said, but then you say let people do themselves. Yes, but that's also a group that I would not even want to keep company with. But in my dad's mind, it's okay. He sees it from a whole different angle. He sees it from a different perspective. My brother and I don't want to have anything to do with it. But guess what? We let my dad be who he is. We let those people be who they are. Oh, and some of my classmates, my high school classmates, elementary, middle school, and high school, some of them I've known since elementary school. They're a part of that group. But I don't agree with that group. I think it is just, it doesn't line up with first of all, I should say first of all the word, but I'm going to say first of all common sense, because again, a lot of those people in that group, they claim the name of Jesus, they claim the name of Christ, and yet the things that group represents to me go utterly against the things of Christ and don't line up. And when we get back even into this political war that's always going on, it's like, how can you say these things? How can you post these things? How can you say you're a part of this and you believe that, yeah, you're saying it's okay for Mr. Winbush to be in your group, or yes, you're saying it's okay because you really believe, that people are equal. It doesn't line up. It doesn't line up. So now one of the things as I get ready to close, and if you all tuned in looking for something that was kind of more inspirational and motivational, this might not be it. Today is kind of like, it's thought-provoking. It's self-check time. It's being real and being real enough even to step up and speak out if you need to that person that you're comfortable speaking with and saying, well, you know what? I hear what you're saying and I agree with you with what you're saying, but this might not be the place. It's kind of like I see one of my former co-workers on, and there were things that we could talk about when the students weren't around, but certain things you don't talk about when the students are around, because you don't want to portray a warped image or image that they're not mature enough to understand, to sense. For an example, many of them came from backgrounds that there were a lot of things lacking. And so they found a lot of what they needed in us. We became the grandmas, the aunts, and the other coworkers were the uncles. We were like their surrogate family members, but it wouldn't have served any purpose for us to sit and talk about what bad parents they had and how their parents should be doing this and the parents don't do that. That wouldn't have served any purpose for them. That would have been throwing, as they say, throwing shade on them, because that would have been throwing shade on somebody that they love, and their parents were only doing what they were capable of doing, what they knew to do, what they had the tools to work with to do. So they weren't always making the best decisions, and many of the kids were raising themselves. But as adults, mature adults, we had to know when to talk about certain things and when not to talk about certain things. And also when we would talk about certain things, for example, we might have been getting on a kid for what she was wearing and how inappropriate it was. And, that skirt is always up to, what was it that I heard? I saw a video clip of Aretha Franklin the other day where they were interviewing her, and she was talking about the dress code, the way that some of the female entertainers dressed, and she was saying, that some of those skirt lines need to come down. She said they don't need to be so short that we see what you had for breakfast. So okay, we might be talking to a young lady and her clothes are kind of revealing to us everything, but then when we would meet the mom, or we would see a picture of the mom and we would see her attire, we understood. Now, why am I saying that in context of what we're saying? Many times the things that we're seeing, well, I'm saying it for two reasons. Let me finish that first point. Back it all up. So we needed to make sure we were not talking about those things in a derogatory way around those children. Even if we weren't talking about their parents, we didn't need to sit there talking about other parents. We didn't need to talk about what we observed and what we thought should be different and how we understood why the child was the way that he or she was, because of now that we've met and interacted with the parent, we understand. By the same token, when it comes to people that we're dealing with, one of the ways that I have been able to keep myself from being angry and just upset at people and appalled at how they're acting, even though I might be like, wondering what in the world, is I have to try to back up and understand their world, their perception, their way of seeing things. And even though I don't accept it, do you know that helps me to accept them? Even what I referenced earlier about the group that my dad is a part of, that my brother and I don't have anything to do with. But yet, when we back up and we look at him, his background, his perspective, how he saw things from his world, we can accept that's why he's a part of that group. But we just know we won't ever be. So if we want to be like Christ, if we want to understand, we need to be able to look at people and understand that there's a reason that everybody's doing what they're doing, saying what they're saying, acting the way they act. I may not have a clue about it from an experiential standpoint, but I can ask God to let me see them through his eyes. Let me see from their perspective. Let me understand. Because when bottom line, even in walking it out and accepting other people, have you not thought about the story where Jesus asked his disciples, who do men say that I am? Who do men say that I am? Well, who do you say that I am? If someone posed the question to people who interact with you, who have come in contact with you, who've been in contact with you, who've seen you, who know you, what would they say? What would they say if they were asked, well, who is she? Who is he? What would the answer be that people give? So that's the way that I need to conduct myself. Not in a way that's phony, not in a way that's I'm always trying to impress other people or look good in front of other people. I need to be real. And some of you tuning in, you all know the real me. And you all know that, it ain't always pretty, and it definitely isn't perfect, but I try to be honest and upfront. But if people were asking, who do people say that you are? Who do people say that this person is? What would be the answer be? What is the answer that you want them to give? We say that we want to be like Jesus. So we need to be like him in the sense that we conduct ourselves in a way that we can boldly ask, who am I? Who do you say I am? Who do you perceive me to be? Who do others perceive me to be? What will people say that you are? Who would people say that you are? So summing it all up as we'll get ready to close, keeping it real today, just about are we who we say we are? Looking at the difference between what we say and what we do, looking at the difference in what we post on social media and how we really act, understanding that the example that I set is either supporting what I have projected or portrayed myself to be, or it's causing questions to be asked. And is my image something that's not only going to be is my image on paper? For instance, if I'm applying for a job and I've got this image on paper, is that image on paper really going to line up with who I am and what I post, what I say I am, what I talk about? Again, using that example of I can have that of the person going to get a job and they meet all the qualifications, but when people start to check the social media and the social media history, they decide, well, no, that's not the person that we really want. So even though that's talking specifically about jobs, and some of us are not in the job market, still we have to understand is if I am really the person that I'm projecting myself to be, or do my posts tell a different story? Do people see character and integrity? Do they see realness? Do they see uniqueness? Do they see an ability to coexist with those who are totally on the other end of the spectrum of our beliefs, within reason, because some people won't let you do that. You understand? Some people won't let you do that. But I remember when I went to my high school reunion a few years back, and I was still being the person that I was in high school. And I was that person that was friendly with everybody. Didn't matter your color, didn't matter your GPA, didn't matter your family background, didn't matter your socioeconomic status. It didn't matter. Audrea was friends with everyone. And one of the things that I did was, being me, I went around and I hugged everybody in the room at some point. And I remember getting to this group of guys that, we had been cool in high school, but because of them being who they really are, and that the real them having oozed out at that point. Now, mind you, this was some years ago. There was a hesitancy. There wasn't a genuineness. There wasn't a realness as they hugged me back. In fact, they were looking at me surprised to see that I would even step to them to hug them. But that was on them. I left that in their yard. I went, and I still, because I'm still going to be who I am. I can hate what you post. I can know what you post is full of venom. I can know it's full of hatred. I can know it's revealing your true colors. But I'm going to love you where you are, no matter what. And that in itself is going to be the conviction, that a part of that conviction that's needed for you to self-check and for you to decide that you want to line up and do something a little different. And then it may be that, well, I don't care what she think, I'm just going to be who I am, but I can still continue to pray for them. So as I sum it up, again, basically we're talking about, am I who I really say I am? What message am I sending by my actions, by what I do? But the other piece to this is, don't let the enemy sucker you into getting your blood pressure riled up, ending friendships, relationships, because they are so totally not aligned with what you see as being truth. Now, that doesn't mean you have to hang with them. If it's that uncomfortable, don't. But don't pass judgment on them. Pray for them. And that's one of the things that we keep missing as believers, when we know we're supposed to pray for those who are in authority over us. We're supposed to pray for those who have rule over us, and we miss that. This isn't the first time we've missed it. We missed it a couple of administrations ago. Some of us stop doing so much talking and do a lot more stepping back and trying to understand why they are the way they are. Yes, you're still going to shake your head, but why even allow yourself to get pulled into this area of, just being so vocal and so verbal, and knowing that that's not going to change anything. I'm not saying keep your opinion to yourself necessarily, but you just don't need to engage in a lot of interaction that's distracting you from your purpose, from your witness, from your message that you're supposed to be sending out. It doesn't mean either that we're expecting that we're going to stand around together and sing kumbaya, kumbaya, come by here, Lord, come by here. No, it's not that. But there's got to be a happy medium there where you're comfortable with who you are, and you know that no matter how bad things appear, how bad things actually are, that there's no person that can step into an office or in a position that can override the protection, the covering, the favor, the grace, the mercy, the love, all of those things that we enjoy from our Heavenly Father. And that's where we mess up, because then our message that we're sending is a lot different than the message that we should be sending. So I strive to have my message be one that I know who I am, I know whose I am, I have certain beliefs that I'm going to adhere to. I understand that you may not have those same beliefs, but I'm going to accept you where you are, even though I don't agree with what you're saying, what you're doing. And that in and of itself is sending a message. And sometimes we're sending the message to those people that they need to be portraying and sending themselves. So I hope this is made some sense. I hope it gives you some insight. But for some of you, I pray it's going to help you keep your blood pressure down. Stop getting riled up about these things. Don't go stick your head in the sand and act like it's not there. But govern yourself according to how you're being led to do certain things, to say certain things. How should you act? That person on that job that's so mean, so hateful that probably goes home and puts on their hood and goes to the rally. Okay, your job just to love them anyway, as long as they don't come stepping to you and trying to hurt you. But if you for some reason are able to peep their card and you find out what they really are and how they really operate, then have you ever thought about the fact that God has allowed you to have privy to that information because he wants you to be a good steward over it and to pray, to really pray and believe that his word will prevail and that laborers will go across their paths and that they will be enlightened and know the love of God. And because again, what we're finding is that there are people, they really believe that they're, going to beat some of us to heaven, but yet they're spewing venom and hatred and vile stuff, so what's your message? What's the message? Because what did Jesus do when they were saying things in his face directly to him? How did he conduct himself? What did he do? How did he act? He set an example for us. And I've had to walk through some situations where I've had to love those who have hated me down to my baby toe, but I've had to love them anyway. But it's not because I'm all that. It's because I wrapped myself up in the one who is all that. And then he gave me what I needed to be able to walk those things out. There've been situations where, I needed to send the right message. I was being persecuted on the job openly in front of students, in front of coworkers. And I had to decide how I was going to conduct myself. Did I want to say something back? Did I want to retaliate? Did I want to get her straight? Of course I did. But I was not led to do so because it would send the wrong message. So God allowed me to flip the script, turn it into a teachable moment, and I could actually tell those kids, yeah, when you have a job, your supervisor might treat you like this too. Your supervisor might come step to you. Now you understand what we're saying about having control over your mouth, controlling your anger, keeping your thoughts in your head. You can say anything you want to say in your head, but don't let it come out of your mouth. Because if I let it come out of my mouth, it isn't going to help anything. It isn't going to solve anything. She's my supervisor. I'm still going to treat her with honor, with dignity and respect, whether she deserves it or not. And because of my childlike faith, honestly, I firmly believe that anytime anybody mistreats me, steps to me wrong, does wrong, and I continue to walk the way that I believe God would have me walk, they'll get what's coming to them. That vengeance is not for me. God's going to repay them for what they've done, and he's going to give me back what might have been taken or held back or delayed, and he's going to reward me for conducting myself in the way that I should. So what's your message? What's your message? What's your message? Are you sending the right message? All right. I love you. God bless you. This is Dr. A. We're keeping it real with Dr. A today. And just in this particular season that we're in, don't allow yourself to get so distracted that you start sending out the wrong signals, the wrong messages. And then when it comes time for you to interact with a certain group or a certain organization or certain individuals or to be in a particular place, people won't be able to receive from you. People won't be able to see who you really are because they're seeing you through that filter that they have of those messages that you were sending out that might have been, really heated, intense, on point, spot on, whatever you want to say for that particular season. But you got to remember that there's life outside of this particular season that you might find yourself in. There's life outside of that particular incident that you might find yourself in. So you've got to conduct yourself wisely. And, the bottom line is allow Holy Spirit to lead you. Be led and guided by him. And there are times when you'll want to talk and it's all it's really almost like you literally biting your tongue to keep from talking. But he'll put that muzzle on your mouth. He'll help bring your thoughts in line, and he'll help you keep your systems in your body where they need to be, so that blood pressure won't rise and that heart won't feel like it's about to beat out of your chest, and you'll become well trained, well groomed. It'll become a part of who you are, and you'll know how to conduct yourself. And then that is a really giving you the upper hand. All right. I love you. I don't see any comments, but I'm glad that those of you who did join. I pray that it helps you. Just, it's just a heart check time. It's nothing deep. It ain't no sin. It's not going to send you to hell, but it can save you a whole lot of stress if we can refrain from doing, saying, acting, and reacting in certain ways. Let's don't allow the enemy to press the same button and get the same reaction every time, because he uses people, he uses situations, he uses incidents, he uses circumstances, he uses frustration, he uses the times that we've been mistreated, and he's pushing that button, trying to see what we're going to do. So let's fool him. Let's react in a different way, knowing that this too shall pass. This stuff I'm dealing with is temporary, and I'm going to conduct myself in a way that for the long term, it's going to be something that I can ride out. All right. Y'all have a great rest of the week. Some of you I will see on Thursday night. That's our new night for the Bible study, Thursday night at 8:30. And if you missed the live broadcast, you can always catch it either on the Facebook page for the Word Plunge, a Bible study, or you can catch it on my YouTube channel. And on the YouTube channel, you got all of the playlists for this broadcast, for the Bible study, for 3 or 4 other ones as well. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right. So I'll see you all Thursday night. Y'all be blessed. And if you miss First Saturdays with Audrea, if you missed it this past Saturday, go to the YouTube channel and take a look at it. And I pray that it will be encouraging to you. I love you. God bless you. See you next time. Bye-bye.